what is the best skill to have as a good advocate? So I'm going to turn to Khadim to start us on this one.
Most difficult question of all, I suppose. Other than the simple, straightforward answer, somebody who has a good basis of preparation, research skills, attention to detail. But I think what you really want to know is what makes a good advocate, and it's somebody that understands people, got a good communication skills, that is able to understand people when they come to the witness box, or even when you are seeing them in conference. But normally you would expect people who are good advocates to be orators, but that's not the only skill that you need to have. You need to be able to have good written skills, because advocacy is also about presenting your arguments on paper. Thanks, Don.
Thank you. Alan, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think Khadim's covered this sort of the tactical side of it, about, you know, you need a lot of skills that all come together, and, you know, but advocacy is the art of communication. One way of sort of encompassing this is to give a general overview. As advocates, we tend to see cases as battles to be won, whereas for judges, cases are problems to be solved. So your skill should be helping the judge solve the problem. And what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, identify what the problem is. Make it really simple what the judge's job is that day, because judges don't have time to read into papers and things. You know, you'd be lucky if they've even read your skeleton argument these days. So identify what, you know, who are the parties? What are they rowing about? What does each side want? What are the issues that need to be resolved? What is any relevant law that might assist the judge there? Any relevant tests? What is the evidence in this case? What is in dispute? What isn't in dispute? What bits of evidence might be, you know, help the judge make the decision? All that's fairly neutral. I mean, it's the old cliche that you should almost attempt to write the judgment that you're hoping the judge will give. And then at the end, it's when you're sort of saying, right, having set all this out, if you, you know, do this and do that and do that, I'm sure you will find that actually your decision falls down this way. Apart from anything else, that helps you focus on the case itself, and it helps your case preparation. And a good thing there is, quite often, once you've actually done that exercise, you might identify and sort of go, here are the strengths and weaknesses of my case. Sometimes when you actually do that, when you think like a judge will need to think, that's when you start having to give your client realistic advice about whether they should even be going to trial.
Nice logical advice there. And lastly, I'm going to turn to Alice. Obviously, you've got lots of mooting experience, so do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'd say adaptability. And what I mean by that is being able to take into account the evidence you've been hearing over the course of a trial, perhaps using the judicial interventions that maybe with the judges made comments to the other counsel. So you want to take that into your stride as well. Being able to move around your arguments without getting lost or anything like that. And definitely being able to pick up on the weaknesses that have been highlighted from the other side, and then, you know, be able to prop yourself up. And those are things that you might not, as good as your case analysis might have been to start with, all of these factors, you might have just not been able to have foreseen it for some reason. And you need to be able to be flexible and adaptable to make sure that you can use all these new things coming out to strengthen you. I think that's what I think for me is quite a big one out there, skills.
Thank you. Okay, great advice there from all of our panelists.